The New Orleans Saints. Should we get into what that trade did for them last year?
Yeah, give me what you were breaking down here.
Okay, so essentially, I think smart teams have been saying this for years. Trade down, trade down, trade down. Every time you trade down, you have to have a trade up partner.
Yes.
The reason why you don't trade up, though, I'll use the Bills as an example. A couple years ago, they traded up to get Sammy Watkins when they could have just stayed where they were and gotten, say, Mike Evans, a comparable, if not better player. And then the following year could have had a first-round defensive end. Yeah. So it's Mike Evans and a first-round defensive end, which, as an example, instead of Sammy Watkins. For the Saints, in that scenario, they traded way up to go get Marcus Davenport. So now it's Marcus Davenport versus, let's just say, Jair Alexander.
Yeah, say they make the same trade that the Packers
or Derwin
did
James.
Both
guys were on the board. So they got Jair Alexander last year with their first-rounder. Now, this year, they have another first-rounder.
Pairs across from Marshawn Lattimore instead of a trash bag on the other side.
Yeah. They had to trade for Eli Apple this year. So they could have had Jair opposite Marshawn Lattimore and come into this draft with the number 30 overall pick, hypothetically, assuming Jair was just as impactful as Marcus Davenport last year. So
Marcus Davenport legitimately was not very impactful.
He was not.
Alex Okafor, I think, outsnapped him, or they were splitting heavy playing time. He was not the starter there, full sail at defensive end.
So this year, hypothetically, with 30, Cleveland Farrell could still be there. Zach Allen from Boston College. How different are these guys from Marcus Davenport? Cleveland Farrell, Zach Allen, Chase Winovich, Anthony Nelson. How different is he as a power edge defender than Marcus Davenport?
I'd probably take Davenport over in the same breath as Farrell or Winovich. He'd probably a step above Anthony Nelson to me, but at the same time, it's the incremental difference is not worth another first-round player.
Especially not when it could have been Jair, who's a good corner at the most valuable position on the defense, at a position of need as well for them.
And we said it, not to just keep trashing this pick wholesale, but we said it at the time, if you're going up to get a guy, that was not the guy that's going to make immediate impact on your defense. He was a raw prospect to begin with. He was a guy who was going to, if ever, be an impactful player. It was going to be year 2, year 3, year 4, because he just had no pass rushing moves. I mean, he went to the Senior Bowl. He had one of the worst win rates at the Senior Bowl. Just when he went against real tackles, it was not happening for him. So if we're trading up, the guy should have been Derwin James. That's what I thought it was the whole time when they made that trade, because that was the guy that could impact that Saints defense. I mean, I would be hard-pressed to think that they would not have won that game against the Rams with Derwin James in that lineup.
Derwin would have been
That
great.
was the guy, but like I said, 2 players versus 2 first-round type caliber players versus 1. They obviously made it because they thought, championship run, we have our window. Breeze, how much longer, we don't know. They're obviously all in, but it just... In retrospect,
well, I mean, Derwin James made way more of an impact in year 1 than almost any defensive player. He might have been the most impactful. So that would have been the most, sorry, Saints fans. But, let's get to there, the risk of trading up is the whole 2-for-1 player thing. And that one player, the chances of that one player being twice as valuable as the other two is
unless it's
more valuable than the other
unless it's a guy you're drafting in the top 4. So it's really a crapshoot. They're just not guys that you can put a pin on, drafted 15th overall and say he's going to be, elite. Like that just does not happen a lot of times. Usually those guys go top 5 and everyone knows it.